da da da. Domo arigato, geek to me radio. Da 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 da.
Welcome, 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 geeks and nerds, girls and boys, to a brand new edition of Geek to Me Radio. Tonight, we have creator Adam Wallenta on talking about his brand new Kickstarter he's got for Volume 2 of his series Punk Taco, how you can help support that. Later on, we'll be talking with artist and inker Keith Williams about working on the Phantom, the Spider-Man titles, who his favorite editors were at Marvel, and more. Stand by.
We're talking TV, comics and movies, and video games. And if you don't know Star Trek from Star Wars, we'll try to explain. There are 12 doctors for Hogwarts houses, one ring rules them all. To be the greatest Pokemon master, you must catch them all. You must catch them all. Try to catch them all. Gotta catch them all. Gotta catch them all.
And if you're driving around the greater St. Louis area tonight listening to us on the Big 550 KTRS, hello and thank you for tuning in. If you're streaming us out there on Instagram, or if you're on Facebook or Twitch or YouTube, hello to you and thanks for finding us there. And if you're hearing us after the fact in the podcast form on whatever platform you happen to get your podcast on, we appreciate your tuning in there and listening as well. Make sure you're hitting the subscribe button wherever you're hearing this to make sure it helps us out in the search engine optimization, gets our numbers up and things like that. We always appreciate that. And you've not yet taken the chance to write a 5-star review, we'd appreciate that very much as well. That always helps us out, and it's one of those little free things you can do to help give us a boost. We appreciate all of you listening and for all your support and help there. A full show tonight. Two fantastic creators are with us. We're going to start this off. We've had him on, I believe we had you on the show before, Adam, the creator of Punk Taco. We talked about Volume 1, I know, and now you're back with a second volume on Kickstarter. You got 17 days left to go on this. Welcome back to the show.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate you having me.
And with this, the Kickstarters are always cool. It's the creators get in there, they're owning their own product, and you kind of control everything. You don't have to worry about another publisher coming in. As an artist and a creator, I assuming it's a lot of work, obviously, but it's better rewarding on the back end of it. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. On the back end, I mean, if Punk Taco was signed to a publisher, we'd get like $1 a book as opposed to the full amount. But of course, on the flip side, we also have to invest our own money into it, and we have to handle shipping and packaging and dealing with fans, both positive and negative. Sometimes things go wrong in shipping and books get damaged, and you have to be there for that as well. So there's lots of ups and downs, of course.
I'm getting a little bit of a tick on the audio. So for those of you listening right now, this is a great thing in live radio. We tested the mic and everything beforehand, and it was great. And we were like, yeah, Adam, this sounds great. It's perfect. It's like you're in the room with us. And, of course, we had the same problem last week with the guest, too. We went live, and suddenly we're hearing a little bit of a glitch. No, I'm not hearing you at all. I'm seeing you talk. This is one of the things of live radio. It's like doing a live show. Stuff like this happens. Tell you what, we're going to take a quick commercial break. That's fine because we talked about this beforehand too, so it's fine. We're going to take a really quick commercial break. We're going to come right back and we'll chat more with Adam Wallenta right after this. Please stand by. You're listening to Geek to Me Radio on the Big 550 KTRS.
Merge us together in their robonic lions to challenge the might of King Zarkon's demonic minions and menacing machines. You can join this never-ending battle between the army of evil and the champions of justice, with the fate of planet Aris and the entire universe at stake. Voltron action figures, lions, and vehicles, each sold separately from Panache Place.
Cobra can run, but he can't hide. The G.I. Joe Crusader's hot on his trail. Nobody beats G.I. Joe, G.I. Joe Crusader. Cobra is shaking with fear. Crusader's gone blasting from the stratosphere. Gotcha!
Launch the Avenger!
The Crusader and Avenger are one top team.
Gear down!
Awesome! Nobody beats G.I. Joe, a real American hero!
Crusader comes with pilot and Avenger.
Yo, Joe! The Transformers, more than meets the eye. Autobots wage their battle to destroy the evil forces of the Decepticons. The Transformers, more than meets the eye. The Transformers, robots in disguise.
Attack the Autobot commander! Call in the Decepticon leader!
Transformers, more than meets the eye.
The Transformers from Hasbro.
Oh, this town's changed.
We switched it around. Now we're playing cops and robbers. You'll be the robber.
Okay.
The new Hot Wheels USA Builder set. Sheriff Patrol Car and Camaro Z28 sold separately.
It's going up.
You have to put the set together, and you can change it around.
Hey, wasn't there a road here?
Not anymore, Dad.
Hot Wheels USA Builder set. Not for use with Hot Wheels hauler. Hot Wheels cars sold separately. New from Mattel.
The Legoland Beta 1 command base. You build it for action. You can pretend the radar sounds an alert, a signal to the crew. So you slide them to the launch pad for a make-believe rescue. And how about the new mobile rocket transport? You can drive it over make-believe craters, then get ready for flight. You can lower the rocket, pretend to fire, and blast it out of sight.
The action's up to you.
The new Legoland mobile rocket transport from the Legoland collection. Legoland Beta 1 command base sold separately from Lego Systems.
Light bright, turn on the magic of colored lights. Light bright, make a face to glow at night. Smiling friends, shining bright, make a sign to say goodnight.
Just pop in the colored pegs and follow the patterns. It's easy to make your favorite pictures and characters, or you can always create your own light pictures.
Light bright, turn on the magic of shining lights.
Light Bright from Milton Bradley.
Secret is revealed when innocent-looking vehicles and ordinary men become an awesome fighting team. It's the secret of Mask, where illusion is the ultimate weapon.
Surrender the microfilm.
Mask vehicles each sold separately with action figures.
Nothing can stop me.
Switchblade attacks.
Wings out.
Rhino retaliates. Shadow creates a diversion. Rhino reveals its hidden firepower.
Gotcha.
Mask, where illusion is the ultimate weapon.
The Micro Machine Man here, presenting the genuine, original, colossally collectible, most midget miniature replicas of the real things. Micro Machines. Dramatically detailed, stupendously styled, smaller than a nut, this one or this one. And now with a totally terrific town, the new Micro Machine Super City Toolbox playset. Closed, it's a mild mannered toolbox. Open, it's a Micro Machine USA.
And improved property values for our residents and businesses alike. Please support and do your part to keep our community beautiful. If you want to learn more about our Adopt a Street program or if you like a Feed the Can, Not the Land anti-litter sign, please call 314-921-5700. We are Florissant Strong.
Hey, this is Brian O'Halloran. You might know this voice from such great films as Clerks, Mallrats, Dogma, Chasing Amy, the new Jay and Silent Bob reboot, and you're listening to Geek to Me Radio.
All right, we're back. Geek to Me Radio every Sunday night in the big 550 KTRS. Hopefully our technical issues are fixed. We've got creator Adam Wallenta talking about Punk Taco. We had a very brief chat with him there about how it's better for the creators to do the Kickstarters because you actually get to control more of the thing and keep more of the money, obviously. But we were kind of talking about Kickstarter as a whole. So the Punk Taco, the first one you did on Kickstarter as well, if I'm not mistaken, yes?
We did. We did a first print run, which sold out. It was very successful. And then we had a second print, which is almost all sold out.
Wow.
And now what happened was with Volume 2, we did a Kickstarter, and then we made an initial print run order, and then those sold out. So that's why we're back on Kickstarter to increase our print run for Volume 2. So hopefully we can reach that because we want to have more books to go to conventions. We want more people to read the book. So hopefully. So I just want to let everybody know my thing is echoing. So if I sound funny or I hesitate.
Yeah, we sound really good on this end so far. I'm hearing you perfectly, and all the audio is coming through clear on the board. Joey's not giving me any wavy arms, so I think it's all good.
That's all that matters.
And you've been an artist, illustrator, writer, and everything like that for I think almost 20 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, I started out as Marvel back in the 90s as first as an intern and then as a colorist, and I also did some editorial work. So I've been doing it for a long time.
Deciding to go with your own property, I know that, again, that you're not working under someone else's thumb, but I assume kind of working for one of the big ones, Marvel or DC. I've heard many creators say it's been a great experience. Others say it was horrible. I'm glad to be out doing my own thing. Do you have any feelings about your time at Marvel?
Oh, I would have stayed at Marvel all my life if I could. I love Marvel. I had a great experience, but it was a bad time to be at Marvel. So it was during the late 90s, mid 90s, and when they were going through the bankruptcy, and what they called Marvolution at the time, and everybody that I was fortunate to make connections with and friends with, they were all let go, for the most part. So very few people remained. And then when I finished college, this was 1996, I probably worked for like another year off and on for them. But then by that time, it had completely changed. And if you don't have friends there, it's hard to keep your foot in the door. So,
right.
So yeah, and at that point is when I started publishing my own comics back in 1997. So I wanted to do different things that other than superheroes, and so I just set off on my own. I've been doing that ever since.
And Punk Taco is a great. It's an all ages thing. It's really a fun idea. Talk a little bit about the concept. I know you and your son kind of created this all kind of together. Kind of talk a little bit about the genesis of Punk Taco.
Yeah, that just came about because we were hanging out as a father and son. I actually had another book that was, 200 pages in as far as the artwork goes. And then this idea came, and my son and I started having a lot of fun creating it. And so I put the other book on the shelf. I haven't even gone back to it yet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's still sitting there. We've been really involved with Punk Taco. And it was just, when he was 5 at the time, and it's just like a barrage of ideas were coming from him. And I was writing them down and recording them. And as a parent, I could have taken the idea to another publisher like Scholastic, but I knew because a lot of times that takes a long time to get published, and you could still have to deal with rejection over and over.
Right.
So I wanted to capture that time, with my 5-year-old. He was turning 6, and I wanted to share that time creating something with him because they're only young once, and it goes by so quick.
Yeah.
that I wanted to take advantage of that. And it's been a great experience, working with him. And we had so many ideas for book 1 that we knew that we couldn't get it all into book 1 because we had a budget that we had to meet and a deadline. I didn't want to take 5 years to produce one book because then he would be 10, and then interest would start to lose. So, we created book 1, and it was very successful. We won a Ringo Award for Best Kids Comic or Graphic Novel. We won a Kids Comics Award for Best Sci-Fi and Fantasy. And I said, we sold out of the first printing. We did a second printing, and now we're doing book 2, and book 3 is like 90% drawn. So once we're done with all this promotion for book 2 and selling that, then we're going to get right back into Punk Taco 3. So it's been a lot of fun.
And if I may ask, how old's your son at this point?
He's 10 now. 10.
And you're coming up on that. So I got to ask, were there other ideas that as he was barraging you with ideas that were like, oh, that will never work? I mean, Punk Taco's obviously caught on, but were there other ones that are like, well, son, I don't know if that's the best idea?
Oh, he has a lot of ideas for new characters that we're going to get into, and we're going to start introducing them into Punk Taco and then have their own series. And then his little brother is involved now too. So he's 6. And he's really involved in creating characters and writing, coming up with story ideas. And yeah, nothing is off the table. So when you're working with your kids, it's all fun. It's just a really good time. And because you're working with kids, making books for kids, it can be wacky. It could be insane.
Sure. Yeah,
it doesn't always have to make perfect sense. So
now is your 10-year-old who kind of you started this with, is he a little territorial over some of the ideas? Like now that the 6-year-old's coming, did they play nicely?
No, not at all. Yeah, he likes working with him and his brother actually have a ongoing story every morning. They have a set time when they play this series that they've created, and they created these characters, and they have to build on this story every day. And I keep telling them we should be recording it, but they're like, oh, don't worry, we remember the whole story. I'm like, well, that's good.
Yeah, you may have a hit YouTube series on your hands if you start recording
That's what I told them. I said, it could be like a reality TV, 2 kids coming up with all these ideas, and then they build the characters with Lego, and so they act out the whole story. So I told them I thought it would be a great idea for that as well, to put it on YouTube, but. I think not being on camera helps them with their creativity.
Yeah, I get that. It's so weird to think about how, because you and I are close to in the same age, and to think about what resources we had. If we wanted to record a story, we had to get out the big VCR tape and put it on our shoulder and film stuff. And now it's just you pull out your phone and all the video, you edit everything right there. It's insane to think about what your children can do that we couldn't even dream of.
They could add special effects. I mean, when I was in college at Pratt Institute, I learned how to edit with videotape, with the 2 decks. And now you could do all that on your phone. It's incredible.
Right. I often, because there's people who are at the radio station that are older than me, and I always think about, they're like, we had to do 8 tracks and do reel-to-reel things. You guys are lucky. I'm like, that's probably what I sound like when I'm talking to, 10-year-olds. It's like, you've got it all on your iPhone. Right. But it's such a different place. That's so cool that they're doing that. So I guess they really have. Now, is their mother creative as well?
She's a scientist, actually.
Okay.
So she's a geophysicist, and we've actually written two comic books together. So we wrote 2 educational science comics together that were funded by the National Science Foundation.
Wow.
So, yeah. So she does all the technical writing, and then I add in the jokes and make it a comic book.
So it's the perfect left brain, right brain blend, it sounds like.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
So you've already got stories mapped out, it sounds like, because you said, we kind of have to break this down. We can't do everything. So, looking forward, are we talking maybe a Punk Taco Volume 5 down the road here? How far, without giving anything away, do you guys have things mapped out?
Right. We're keeping everything so individuals can read. You could read the individual stories, but they do kind of build on each other. And so we're doing 3 books that we are definitely involved in right now that kind of conclude part of the story that connects them all together. But I would love to keep doing it. I would love to keep doing it on this level with the hardcover, but then I also have an idea to create Punk Tacos for different age groups. So the little golden books, I'd like a Punk Taco book like that, which is more of a story book. I'd like a Punk Taco for older kids, so you could hit on different themes and different stuff like that. Just like Ninja Turtles. I mean, that Ninja Turtles is a big inspiration for me, where you have the really gritty stuff that was the original stuff.
Yeah,
and then
the black and white,
cartoony. And now the IDW series is incredible as well, but they have so many different styles of Ninja Turtles that I think we can do the same thing with Punk Taco.
And if you're listening right now, if you go to Kickstarter.com, just type in Punk Taco or type in Adam's name, Adam Wallenta, and we'll put a link to the Kickstarter in our show notes. Yeah. If you're hearing this after the fact, just scroll down the page and you'll see the link there. But right off the Kickstarter page, Punk Taco is a lovable, sentient space taco who rocks out across the universe with his band of misfits, fighting evil and helping those in need. The art on this is absolutely brilliant. It's endearing just to see it. And the Kickstarter things you can see on the side, you can just back it without any kind of reward tier, but obviously there's tiers as you go. I would think that's probably the hardest thing, is figuring out what the reward tiers are for Kickstarter.
Yeah, I've done a few Kickstarters, and that's always a challenge. And this time I wanted to keep it real simple because I wanted to just focus on getting the book out. And so we have stickers, we have original artwork, bookmarks, and then the two volumes, and then we created a coloring book.
Nice.
So that's really the gist of it. So we have the coloring book here, and
yes,
it's got a bunch of different pages of artwork, and it's actually going to be a little bit bigger than this. So it's a lot of fun because kids like to color, adults like to color. We figured, so it's a nice little extra.
I love going into the Barnes and Nobles and the Borders, and now seeing there's all those adult coloring books for really complicated ones like Harry Potter World and things like that. Those are always fun. So yeah, adults definitely. I break out the colored pencils though. I'm all fancy about it when I do mine.
And you can actually see, for those on video, this is Punk Taco 1, and then this is the dummy copy of Punk Taco 2.
Oh,
so
wow.
It's significantly bigger.
Yeah. And again, if you're not
doing
this on video,
price, so.
For those of you who might be listening on audio and have just found the show, we do stream on Twitch and YouTube and Facebook. So if you are listening to this right now, you can always follow Geek Me Radio on those platforms, and then you can see the video. You can see the cool things that Adam has. I love the wall behind you too. It's just all Punk Taco. There's the branding.
That's our bookshelf. I figure I shouldn't be advertising other people's books.
Right, exactly. Why not? I would do the same thing if I were you. I love the shirt too. So if people want the swag, the sweatshirts and T-shirts, there's a website they can go to get that as well. Yes.
That's all on Amazon.
Okay.
Yep. So if you go to Amazon and type in Punk Taco sweatshirt or T-shirt, that's all on demand stuff because I don't have the space to have inventory for like 500 sweatshirts to try to sell.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. We have to. Where are we going to put
You
this
know, I have
at?
5 different sizes. You know, extra large, and
Right.
all the way to small. It's like,
So there's boxes of sweatshirts, then boxes you need to ship the stuff out, and those all pay. Yeah.
Right.
Have a whole other wing of your house.
So
for
we
that.
figure we hooked up with Amazon and they have a whole on-demand thing, and
Oh, that's
people
perfect.
can order from there.
Very nice. And conventions are getting back underway now. I notice there's a lot of conventions picking up now that kind of we're starting to learn to live with COVID and everything like that. Do you have any conventions that you might be appearing at slated for this year?
Yeah, I hope so. The book is at the printer now, and it's going to ship soon, and it takes like a couple months to ship across the ocean.
Right.
So it's not actually going to be here till late July.
Okay.
So I'm hoping to do Baltimore Comic-Con.
Okay.
And I will be at the Small Press Expo, and I'd like to do like New York Comic-Con and some of the later shows. So
maybe
but definitely
in the
Baltimore and
fall.
SPX.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, it's always fun if you're listening right now. It's always great to back these independent people because that's, you're not giving it to a huge corporation, because I know there's people are railing against corporations right and left for a variety of reasons these days.
Right.
But obviously, not only are you doing this to kind of help Adam, but his kids are getting such a kick out of it, and that way maybe they'll be encouraged and they'll get their own YouTube channel and start doing their Lego stories online as well.
Yeah, that would be actually. We have a YouTube channel where we do like how to draw videos with the kids and all that. So they have a venue to put their movies up, but they just have to want to do it. And I don't like to force them into anything. If they want to record it, then they record it. But yeah, anybody that supports this Kickstarter, we really appreciate it. We're going to give a lot of extras. We have a lot of free comics that we're going to give for people who order like pledge at the $25 tier for one book, and then for $50 you get 2 books plus all the bonus stuff. And again, it goes directly to us, and then we can take that money and invest that back into making more Punk Taco books and other projects. So we really appreciate when people support it. Right now, the Kickstarter is very low, so we definitely need some support from everybody out there. This has been a hard project to get funded, and a lot of people tell me because it's an all ages book.
I would think that would be the opposite.
I would think, but maybe parents aren't on Kickstarter as much. I'm not sure. Because I know, like, if you look at what books are doing really well, a lot of times it's like really violent books or, other graphic books.
Yeah, I know we had Jimmy Palmiotti talking about his Painkiller one, and that went really well. So it's like,
Jimmy
Jimmy
does more adult stuff.
Right,
Yeah.
that's kind of odd to
great,
think about.
and all of his projects are awesome, but they're definitely more adult oriented.
Definitely.
So.
But what's great is if you're listening right now and you've got kids and your kids are kind of wondering that they either like comic books or want to get into comic books and you're trying to find something for them, it's a great way to kind of open your kids up to that world too, without having to worry about, the Punisher coming in and shooting somebody up or anything like that.
Right, and we wrote it in a way for young kids, they like the artwork. So if they're not strong readers yet, the adult in their life can read it to them, and the adult's going to enjoy it. And then as the kid gets older, because we made it an 8x10 hardcover, it's not like a floppy comic you put in a bag and backing and you lose it. It's something that you could keep on the bookshelf and kids can reread it over and over, like a Dr. Seuss book or something along those lines. And then they could pass it down, for generations, hopefully, if they enjoy it. But that's why we made it a hardcover like that, an 8x12. We wanted it to be something that can last and be passed down.
And I just pull up the Kickstarter page again, and it looks like you're just a little over a third of the way there already. It's a 6,000 goal. It's very attainable. You've already got 57 backers, and you've got over 2 weeks to go, 17 days to go for this. So I think that's incredibly doable. And the fact that your first couple of Kickstarters went really well, I'd say I don't feel you should be sweating this. Hopefully you feel the same way.
Any creator will be sweating until the last minute. And you always want to do more. Like, we kept it low because we just needed to basically reorder, the Punk Taco books. But, the more that we can raise, the more we can invest in Punk Taco 3 and beyond. So we'll see how it goes.
And any other surprises, like as you get closer, or if like, let's say you hit the 6,000 early, Are there stretch goals in mind or anything like that that are kind of we can kind of make people salivate a little bit about, that sounds good?
Yeah, this past week I offered that if we reached our goal by Friday, I would do a free original piece of artwork for everybody who pledges $50 or more.
Wow.
And we didn't reach that goal, but I'll tell you what, because all of your listeners are doing it, if we can reach our goal this week, I will do the same thing. I will do a drawing for everybody that pledges $50 or more, an extra original piece of artwork by me, and I'll throw that in there for everybody.
That's awesome. Very cool. So if you're listening right now, again, Kickstarter.com. Just go and type in Adam Wallenta or Punk Taco. And again, if you're listening after the fact, we've got the link in the show notes down at the bottom of the page. And so obviously the Kickstarters take up such a great deal amount of time. I assume this is the main thing you're focused on. But once you get past the Kickstarter and it's successfully funded, I'm assuming there's probably going to be a couple weeks of making sure the things are fulfilled and everything like that. So after this whole thing is over, what are you looking at next on the horizon?
I'm going to dive right into Punk Taco 3. As I mentioned, I have about 90 pages penciled for Punk Taco 3, and we're just finishing up the ending. So once all this Kickstarter stuff is done, and then once I get a kind of handle on fulfilling all the orders and packaging up everything and shipping it out, I'm going to dive right back into inking and having Punk Taco 2 colored, or Punk Taco 3 colored, and getting that all packaged up, and we'll probably run a Kickstarter for that as well. So I'm excited to get into that one.
And I got to ask, because you mentioned it at the very beginning, the 200 pages you already had done that went up on the shelf when Punk Taco started, is that once the kids are in college, that'll be your project that you dive back into, or is it you plan on revisiting it at some point?
I'm actually working on that kind of at the same time, very slowly. So I have a colorist I'm working on, and he's coloring it for me. I wanted to do it all myself, but I knew that it would never get done that way. So I'm going to actually pitch that one to a couple other publishers first and see if anybody's interested, because I'm not in any hurry for it to get out there. And if they don't want to publish it, then I'll do it myself, as I always do. And we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'm excited. My kids are actually very excited for that one, because they know that I put that on hold for Punk Taco, and they want to see it get done. So,
well, it sounds like you've got very, very special children. It sounds like they're very creative, and they're very supportive of everything you're doing. And it's kind of nice that you have that relationship where you're basically working on this project with them. It's such a cool concept. I love it.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
And just to let everyone know, too, social media links, websites where they can find you, keep up with your work other than the Kickstarter, anything else?
Absolutely. You can follow me anywhere with just @Adam Wallenta. So it's just my name spelled out. You could go to punktaco.com, adamwallenta.com. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and whatever new social media app pops up. I'm on there. Whether or not I participate all the time it's questionable, but I have a TikTok, but I don't even know what to use it for. So.
And a very unique last name too. So I guess as soon as you get the social media, whatever the new platform pops up, you don't have to worry about fighting for the last name. Like it's not John Smith.
Right. Yeah. I don't have a problem with that usually. Although I found out that there's another Adam Wallenta in Michigan. He's a doctor. So
very cool.
I'm a doctor in a different dimension.
That's right. It's the multiverse of Wallentas.
Right.
It's always great talking to you. I love having just seeing all your work, because you're so active on social media. I love always seeing it pop up and all the stuff that you do.
Thank you.
It's very cool that you are living your best life, living the dream. That's always fun to see for anybody.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I mean, sometimes I feel like all I'm doing on social media is self-promoting. And if you follow me and you see that a lot, know that you can also interact with me. I love actually using social media to socialize in a positive way. But sometimes I get caught up in the self-promoting. But when you're independent, you kind of have to.
Yeah, you're preaching to the horse's mouth, believe me.
Yeah.
This has been great. Adam Wallenta, continued success to you. We can't wait to see how quickly this one gets funded. And we'll have you back on for Volume 3 if you're up for it.
I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Be well. Take care. Thanks.
All right. Have a great night.
You too. There he goes. Adam Wallenta. Make sure, again, you back the Kickstarter. We'll put a link to that if you're listening after the fact. Otherwise, we're going to take a commercial break. So go right now to your computer and type in Kickstarter. Find Adam Wallenta Punk Taco and go ahead and pledge that right now. $50 or more. If they get funded by the end of the week, he'll get you that personalized art sent your way. We're going to take another quick commercial break. We'll come right back with Keith Williams, please stand by.
One hand. Yeah, pow! So much for Probot Spy. It's safe, Chewie. Arr, arr! We can get back to Hop Eye and Cannon. Hey, it connects to Hop Wampa Cave. Han's here.
Close blast doors. Raise Rebel Soldier in observation tower. Empire's approaching, Princess Leia. Activate Iron Cannon.
They're bombarding our base. Quick, connect to the Hop generator attack. Vader's headed in with Scout Walker and stormtroopers.
Scout Walker's hit, sir. Aim for the generators, men. Good work.
The world of Hop is ours! Yeah!
Host World from Star Wars Micro Collection line. Playsets also sold separately, figures included. New from Kenner.
New Hot Wheels Landlord. You can check out the pipes, they're hugging the side, with 2 racing spoilers along for the ride. It's hot.
Now you can get this Hot Wheels Camaro Z28 and this 82 Firebird. They're free when you send this coupon and proofs of purchase from any 6 Hot Wheels cars to Mattel. Details and coupons are on this 2 free Hot Wheels cars display at participating stores. Offer expires November 30th, 1982.
Hot Wheels Landlord. Not for use with some sets. New from a...
It's here. The E.T. board game. Now you can pretend to help E.T. go home.
Danger!
Sometimes you can hide.
You're safe, E.T.
And sometimes you can fly.
Wow!
Now the communicator's ready.
E.T. phone home. To the spaceship.
The one that helps E.T. the most wins. Also sold separately, the E.T. card game. E.T. board game from Parker Brothers. Somerset.
Hi, this is Carl Lovely, and you're listening to Geek to Me Radio.
We are back. Geek to Me Radio heard every night here on the Big 550s on Sunday nights. Heard every Sunday night on the Big 550 here in St. Louis. Want to make sure we tell you about our premier sponsor. That's the Greater St. Charles Convention and Visitors Bureau, of course. You know them from the website discoverstcharles.com. I know they are gearing up for a lot of cool things now that the weather. Today was a gorgeous day. We went out, I guess it was Saturday before the rain hit, and we took the dog for a walk along St. Charles there. And it's gorgeous. There's all sorts of people out with dogs. The patios were open. And the lunch crowd was out there. There's people getting ice cream at Riverside Sweets, stopping to browse the stores, and everyone big smiles on their faces. Spring is always a great time to be outdoors, and there's Frontier Park. You can run and play there, bike ride the Katy Trail. I know the Bike Stop Cafe right there on Main Street, how the bike's laid out. You can rent your bike, go bike ride the Katy Trail. People were jogging. City of St. Charles always has something going on. There's always something fun. And if you're one of my listeners and you're from out of town, you haven't yet had a chance to come visit St. Charles, I can't recommend that you move that up on your list highly enough. It's a great place to visit. And you're maybe wanting to get away and plan a summer vacation. There's all sorts of things to do, places to eat, things to see. If you're a history buff, if you just like good food, they've got different festivals going on. Like they just have a music festival coming up. I think it's the first or second weekend of June. You can double check when it is because you can go to the website, discoverstcharles.com, click on the events tab, and it'll have all sorts of things that are planned there. From that website, you can also plan where you want to stay if you are from out of town. And if you're local here in St. Louis and haven't visited for a while, go check them out because we were just there, like I said, Saturday, and I noticed, I'm like, well, that shop right there is new. I had not noticed that popcorn shop before. So there's always something popping up, something to surprise you, even if you've been out there all the time like I have been. Great place to visit no matter what time of year it is. Please make sure you do go check it out. Once again, plan your trip starting at the website discoverstcharles.com. That's discoverstcharles.com. As we always say, it's an historically good time. I also want to remind you that this weekend was opening weekend for Jurassic Park the Musical, part of St. Louis Shakespeare's production. They do Magic Smoky Monkey Theater, which is an offshoot of St. Louis Shakespeare, does a fun show every year, and this time they decided to do Jurassic Park the Musical. Show dates went on this weekend, went really well, but we've got 4 more dates. You can see it Thursday and Friday and Saturday of next week. 2 shows on Friday and Saturday, an 8 o'clock and a 10:30 show. You can get the tickets right there when you walk up. You can also get them online, stlshakespeare.org. You can get the tickets for Jurassic Park the Musical. Come out and support local theater. It's always a great thing to do as well. We've got an interview that I was able to get at Terrificon, and some of the stuff, like I said, I've just been so backed up on content, and if I've got a live guest, obviously I want to have them on live like we had Adam just now. But so some of the stuff I pre-record, has to be pushed back sometimes. So we've got this interview with Keith Williams. He's worked on so much stuff. Super nice guy. It was so great to get the chance to talk to him from Terrific Con last summer. And here's part 1 of my interview with the great Keith Williams. We're talking with artist extraordinaire Keith Williams, and we're here at Terrific Con. One of the things I want to ask you right off, because we've talked to a lot of different artists today. Joe Giella was here yesterday.
Yes.
Larry Strom, we chatted a little bit with him.
Oh, yeah.
And Al Milgram. And it's interesting to hear different people talk about work on inking, which never gets enough credit for one thing. But it's like Larry said he wanted to be an inker, and they said, no, we're going to have you an artist. We have people to do inking. When it comes to inking, what are your thoughts on it? Is it something you want to do? Is it more the artist and you kind of fell into inking? How did it become a thing for you?
It sort of like was falling into it. I actually started as a background inker on Marvel Team Up over working with Mike Esposito over Ron Friend's pencils. So that's how I started. I wanted to be a penciler. That was my dream. But it seemed like as things evolved, after doing the background inking and stuff, I just like fell into doing inking as a regular thing. Editors would ask me if I was interested in doing their book, and I said yes, and penciling just like fell back further and further to the point that 30 years later, now I'm like sort of like relearning how to do pencils because it's been so long since I've actually, did them on my own, and also learning how to ink my own pencils. Yeah. Which is another thing, because I'm a very harsh critic of my own work.
Aren't we all?
So, so that's what's happening. So like now I'm doing the penciling stuff, and I think because it's all it's now, and I just started doing it, that it feels all so fresh and new. I love it.
Yeah. It's almost like you're falling in love with it again.
Exactly. Like I mean, it's great. I don't feel burnt out or anything. Good. It's like every time I work on something, it's like a new challenge. So it's cool.
And a lot of people have said, every artist I've ever talked to said, inking can really make or break the art. Because I know people correct. Joe Giella said Carmen Infantino would famously, they'll get at these things and the editor would say, hold on, these aren't really finished. And Carmen would say, Joe knows what I want.
There you go.
So do you like that a little bit more extra, kind of like, oh, this is really going to be more mine? Or would you rather it come to you like a Mike Zeck where everything's perfectly drawn?
It all depends on the deadline time.
Sure, yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, if I had time to be able to think about it, that would be great. And, and if there wasn't as, it was more like a breakdown, that would be fine. I can work with that. I can and think about where I'm going to put the shading and things like that, things that are missing from the panel. But if it's a deadline, Mike Zeck all the way. Right. This way I could at least lay down the ink lines, and I try not to make too many mistakes and get the book out on time, which is really basically the thing, is making sure that everything comes out on time.
And we talked a little bit before we started doing the interview about the toy lines that I love from the 80s. So we talked about Sectars, we talked about Transformers was one of your early gigs for Marvel too.
That's right, yes.
So do you have an affinity for those things as well? Or is it just kind of like that was a job, but now I'm, this is...
Well, I like doing them because they're toys, and I love toys, and and I wish I had some of those toys when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Didn't have anything like that. I mean, we did have G.I. Joe, and I did work on G.I. Joe too. I just find it fun, as well as a job. But I find it fun to work on. Yeah, sure.
And obviously, Spider-Man, that's a huge thing. Everyone, if you're working at Marvel, everyone wants to work on Spider-Man. Do you have a favorite, either a page that you did or a comic that's like, this is, if you're going to hold up something like, this is my favorite Spider-Man work that I did?
I gotta say there was a moment in time when I was actually, my boss, Jim Alsey, he was the editor, he was off, took vacation, and I had the office for, I was actually the assistant editor on the Spider-Man books for about 9 months, and when he took his vacation, I had to work on the books and had to talk to the writers to discuss what was going to happen in the next issue. So I guess my favorite would be, this is, I guess, the second time the Beyonder came.
Secret Wars 2, is that? Yeah.
From Secret Wars, and I think it was like Web of Spider-Man and Amazing Spider-Man had a storyline where the Beyonder turned the Daily Bugle into gold. And because it's real, the world is real, gold is a very heavy
Right.
substance, and it collapsed under its own weight.
Remember
So we like went to a restaurant and talked about that, how that was going to happen, and we even talked about throwing in a shot of G.I. Joe directing people. I think he's in there.
That'd have been awesome.
He is in there.
I have to go back and read.
I don't think he's actually G.I. Joe in there, but we kind of gave the impression that.
And that was the one with the two covers that fit together, the black costume on Webb and the regular on Amazing.
Yes.
That's a gorgeous, the way it sits together. That was before people were doing gatefold covers and triptychs and everything like that. So you guys were ahead of the time.
That's right. Yeah, so I got to say that was like one of my favorites. Yes,
I'll bet.
Yes, absolutely. Another time, also when I was assistant editor, helping put together the first issue of Web of Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean, that was launching a new Spider-Man book. They had to be, I guess, some kind of we've got enough Spider-Man fans to warrant another book, because now it seems like there's 8 Spider-Man books, there's 12 Avengers comics out there.
Right, at that time, that was going to be number 3.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it would be number
Marvel
4.
Team Up.
Because they had, 4. Then again, it could have been 5. No, but I don't think we had Marvel. I'm trying to remember if we had Marvel Team Up at that time, but the 3 major books were going to be Amazing, Spectacular, and Web of. And then there was also Marvel Tales, which was the old stories.
That's
yes, right. So
yeah, now that I say that, I think Web replaced Marvel Team Up.
Yes.
Marvel Team Up ended, and they decided to let's keep it going with Web.
There you go. That's it.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's all coming back to me now.
Yeah.
So, of all the editors you've worked with, who is your favorite, and why is it Danny Fingeroth? Okay, of course, we had Danny Fingeroth on the show before, and I know that that Keith had worked with Danny, so I shot him that question partially in jest. But we'll see how he responds. Was Danny Fingeroth?
Hi, Goofy.
Mickey Mouse Talking Phone from Hasbro's Preschool Division.
Half human, half animal. Thunder, 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 thunder.
I'm Monroe, want the sword of Gungera.
With this secret power break battery not included, make Lionel's eyes light up.
I'm ready.
With Battlematic action, you can make them fight with their swords.
Your sword is mine, Lionel. That's what you think, Monroe. Take that.
Thundercats, Mumra and Lionel with light up eyes. Each sold separately, new from LJN.
Here's Happy Monchichi Girl Doll Puppet.
Smile, you've got me. Monchichi, Monchichi, oh, so soft and cuddly. The thumb in her mouth, she's really neat.
And here's Happy Monchichi Boy Doll Puppet.
Rainy day, I'll play. Smiling, happy Monchichi.
Try for free. That's BABBEL.com, Babbel.com.
Hi, this is John Delancey, and you're listening to Geek to Me Radio.
We are back. Geek to Me Radio every Sunday night on the Big 550, and hopefully you're streaming us. You're watching us on YouTube and Twitch and Facebook and all the places where you can catch the video, or you're hearing us after the fact. And again, please make sure you're subscribing on whatever platform you are hearing us or seeing us on. That would be greatly appreciated. This segment brought to you by Bugs Comics, appropriate since we're talking to Keith Williams. If you're in the greater St. Louis, St. Charles area and looking for a new place to get your comic books, or maybe you want to get back into the comic book hobby, highly recommend in either of those cases that you go check out Bugs Comics off of Bryan Road in O'Fallon. You can go to the website bugscomicsandgames.com. He's got a lot of back issues, variant covers, and things like that up for sale on the website. So if you're not in the area, you can order those online as well, and Larry and Tim will happily ship those to you. Like I said, if you're wanting to get back into comics, maybe it's been a while. Larry used to have a shop when I was little, all the way up in Florissant, and I'm so grateful he's reopened. It's a nostalgia factor for me, but also working with someone and knowing to go get your comic books from someone who knows the industry, who knows what they're doing, who can knowledgeably speak about everything, and he's just not trying to sell you something when you come in the door. Yeah, this is what you should be buying. He takes the time with each customer, and I think that's a really great thing that not a lot of shopkeepers will do in all cases. They want to put out what's the hottest book, what's the most expensive book. Let's get something out there. Larry actually takes the time to make sure that you get the comic books that are going to be good for you, for what you're looking for. And if he doesn't have it, ask him, because he's always buying comics. He's always getting new things, so you can always ask him if there's something you're on the lookout for, and he will keep an eye out for you. He's done that for me a few times already. And it's just, this is a great time to be in comic books. We've got the new Doctor Strange movie coming out. The MCU shows no signs of slowing down. Obviously, they just had a big monster hit with the Batman, so comic books are here to stay. And if you want to get into it, go check out Bugs Comics and Games. Go to the Facebook page as well, facebook.com/Bugs Comics and Games. Give their Facebook page a like. They'll appreciate that. Make sure you pick up some comics at the store. Once again, bugscomicsandgames.com. Very proud to have them as our official comic book sponsor here on Geek to Me Radio. We were chatting with Keith Williams, a fantastic artist who's worked on so many different titles, and I was giving him a little bit of a hard time because Danny Fingeroth is a really great editor. He's done a lot of great work in Marvel on the Spider-Man titles, so I jokingly asked him, before we take that last break, who's your favorite Spider-Man or Marvel editor in general, and why is it Danny Fingeroth?
Yes, it is Danny Fingeroth. Yes.
Because I know he follows me, so Danny, if you're listening, that was for you.
Danny, hey Danny. No. Danny was a great editor. You know, like I had a lot of fun, you know, like working with him. I got to also say Jim Sellertrup too. You know, like
he's brilliant.
He's the man who hired me to do the Web of Spider-Man book, and you know, like I'm always grateful for that. And I worked for a bunch of different. Mark Grunwald, another great, another great editor. You know, like I love him. He's fantastic, you know. Gosh, Howard Mackey I've worked for, you know, like Carl Potts, Craig Anderson. I have to thank Craig Anderson. He is the Warlock editor.
I had you sign that poster yesterday. You're my last signature on the Warlock poster.
There you go. right. And he got me to work on Warlock Infinity Watch and Warlock Chronicles and. You know, like a few other things. I think I might have done a Guardians of the Galaxy somewhere in there, but I'm not really sure about that. But yeah. So I'm really grateful for him for that because you know, like all the stuff that's going on with the movies right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hopefully they're showing your name in those end credits. I hope.
Nah, well.
I mean, Kevin Feige better know, you know, that he'd give all the credit to the artists and writers and you know who worked on these things.
Well, you know, we're just doing a job, and I'm just basically hoping that the kids love the books. You know?
Yeah.
That's really what I want because that's the way it was when I was a kid.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
Like, I mean, I loved reading comic books, you know, like, and collecting them, and that's what got me into doing this and got me to the place where I am now.
Do you remember what your first comic book you bought was or that you had?
My grandma got me my first comic book. She came over one weekend with Batman.
Oh, really?
Yes. I can't remember the issue number, but it was Batman and Robin's face was on the cover, and I think the red phone, the hotline phone, was in the background with webs covering it.
Oh, Batman 183.
Oh my God!
I'm a Batman nerd, sorry.
Wow. Yeah, so that was it.
Nice. Second appearance of Poison Ivy too, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh my.
So.
There you go. Wow.
So, yeah, if you want me to travel with you to cons, I can do
Please. That. You can help me remember all the stuff that I've totally forgotten. Yes.
And obviously you're wearing the Phantom ring.
Oh, yes.
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention your work on Phantom, which to work on something that's, you know, dating back to the serial days of the 30s and everything like that, such an iconic character, that had to be a thrill to work on that.
Oh, absolutely. And I also got to thank Danny Fingeroth for that job too, because he's the one that asked me if I was interested in doing that. And to go and talk to the people over at King Features and show them my work.
Yeah.
And that got me to meet Lee Falk, and actually showing him, and he's the one that gave me the okay, you know, to do the work, do the inking work on the Phantom.
Very nice.
Which I worked on for about for 10 years.
I was gonna say it was a long run.
Yes, with George Olsen. He's a fantastic penciler. Yes, and Lee was writing all the stories all the way up until his death in '99.
Yeah.
So, you know, which was absolutely amazing. and I stayed on until 2005.
Yeah, that's a good run. I mean, good run on a book.
Yes.
And you've got, I love the banners and everything with all the different stuff you've done. You just mentioned to a gentleman that came by too, you're doing another con next weekend?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be at Eternal Con.
There you go.
Eternal Con.
How many cons a year do you do? I mean, especially, it's kind of, we're emerging from COVID, so people are getting their con muscles back.
Yeah.
How many have you done so far this year?
Oh gosh, maybe 12.
Already? Wow.
Maybe, yeah, that's possible. In 2019, I did 35. So yeah, but that was the first time I actually really got into doing a lot of cons, and I didn't even realize how many I did until I looked back at like my calendar.
You must enjoy it though if you're doing that many. I mean, you must obviously you enjoy what you do, but to be able to meet the fans and everything, I think would be.
I definitely enjoy meeting the fans. It really knocks me out. You
Yeah.
know, like all the people that really have read the books and they remember it.
Right.
And they talk to me and they say how like how much they enjoyed the books, and it just really blows my mind. I love it, and it's also great seeing the guys that I've worked with, like at Marvel and DC and all the other companies, and get to say hi to them and talk and find out what they've been doing, and it's great.
Yesterday you popped your head around. We're talking to DG Chichester. Yes. I got to see him, and it seemed like you guys. I think there was a con somewhere in Coney Island or something like that. He said that you guys.
Oh, good grief! Yeah, that must have been that was a while ago. I like. It's like it was so long ago.
It's hard to remember. Like it was only 5. Oh my gosh, no, that was 15 years ago.
Yeah,
like, my brain's doing the same thing to me. It's like that couldn't have been that long ago.
Yeah, please. Like I mean, I've been working in this business for about 40 years now.
Wow.
So next year will be 40.
Wow, happy anniversary.
Thank you.
And you're still going strong, obviously.
Oh, I hope so. I'm trying to keep myself relevant.
Yeah, no, and you're doing a great job. Like I said, you got a lot of the art on the table and everything like that, and all this stuff. It's if people want to contact you for commissions, or are you on social media much?
Yes, I am. I'm on Instagram.
Okay.
I have a lot of my work on there, and that's Keith Williams, Comic Book Art. So you just look that up, and I'll probably pop up, and also Facebook. Just check Keith Williams. I'm the guy that has the ring that's doing this and smiling. So that's me. So you'll find me that way. And I'm also on DeviantArt too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lots of ways.
Mm-hmm. Cool. But if anybody wanted to DM me, like to do a commission and stuff like that, yeah, do it on Instagram, Facebook, and I'll get back in touch with you as fast as possible.
Perfect.
Yeah.
This has been great. Keith Williams, thanks so much for your time today.
Thank you for talking.
Absolutely, this is great. I love it. Thank you. Very nice guy, and he's got another great setup at conventions too. He does some fantastic work. So if you do end up seeing him at he does several conventions a year, make sure you check him out. Tell him you heard our interview on Geeks Me Radio, and get a commission or a sketch or at least an autograph from some of the stuff he's done, because he's a prolific artist and inker. He's done a lot of great work. Speaking of great artists, we lost the great Neil Adams this week. Just died. I saw the news come out Sunday. It's very sad because if you've done conventions, Neil Adams will always have a huge, and I mean huge setup, like 12 tables laid out, spreading out full of artwork. He'll be at a table in the very center, and you kind of have to walk through it. Joey was recounting it too, how he saw him. I guess it was Louisville that we were at. And he's got these huge displays, huge banners hanging overhead of all his iconic artwork. And if we put the artwork up, you would know it immediately. You might not know it's Neil Adams, but you'd recognize the images. But he's 80 years old, and unfortunately we lost him. The conventions will not be the same without seeing those huge banners and books of artwork and everything like that. It's a great loss. He was one of the people who pioneered to get artists and creators the rights to their work and proper compensation. He really led that fight, and specifically for Siegel and Schuster, who worked on Superman, he specifically made sure that they got proper compensation and acknowledgement from all the work. And it's been great seeing the outpouring of love from people like Roy Thomas, from Ron Mars, and everyone else online, people paying tribute. We do have an interview with Neil Adams that we aired way back when in 2016. So if you go to geeksmeradio.com, just type in Neil Adams, and you'll be able to find that interview. He sat down with me for almost an hour, and we just chatted about comic books, comic book movies, and everything. Great guy, super nice. Met him a couple times. I'm very, very glad I did get the chance to meet him as many times as I did. As we're wrapping up the show here, I want to make sure we tell you about our official movie sponsor, which, of course, Marcus Theaters would be that movie sponsor. MarcusTheaters.com. I was just talking to my neighbor, Jim, about he saw me as out walking the dog in front of the condo, and he said, hey, did you get your tickets to see Multiverse of Madness? Are you going to go see the Doctor Strange movie? And I said, of course I am. And luckily, he gave me the right answer. He said, yeah, we have our tickets booked for Marcus Theaters in Chesterfield, which is always the right answer, because if you're going to go see a movie, you want to do it in the right surroundings. Make sure the popcorn is fresh. Make sure you've got great service, great sound, great experience. Marcus Theaters delivers that to you every time. If you go to the website, marcustheaters.com, you'll find the location of the Marcus Theaters or the movie tavern closest to you. And you can buy your tickets there online. You can find the movie synopsis, get some reviews and things like that. Also, I always point this out too because they have an app, which is always a lot of fun to find that. So if you use the Marcus Theaters app, you can see it pulling up on my screen right there. And that way, if you're driving around and maybe you don't know where the closest one is to you, use the app. You can quickly find the location, order your tickets right there online. It's got the thing right there too, Jurassic World in theaters June 10th. So a lot of great movies coming out. The Bad Guys is a nice animated feature. If you want to take the kids to see something on a weekend, get out there and see movies because, again, during the pandemic, I missed movies so much. Movies in the theater are a different experience that you cannot create with the best surround system at home. It needs to be seen in the proper setting. And I know with graduation coming up, with May, we've got birthdays and things to celebrate. Maybe you want to get a private theater, which you can do on the website as well, marcustheaters.com. Look for the private cinemas, and you can rent those out starting, I think, mostly $99. You can check your local listings and availabilities, but that way you and 20 of your friends can sit back, enjoy a movie, just you. You can add concessions to it and things like that as well for an upcharge. You can discuss that with whatever the theater is you end up going to, but that's a great thing to do for a celebratory event. Like I said, a graduation or a birthday party or something like that. Highly recommend doing that. Once again, the website, marcustheaters.com, for the best movie-going experience in the galaxy. This tonight is our 299th show, which means we've got our 300th show coming up. Director Martin Campbell, who you might know from GoldenEye and Casino Royale. He helped launch 2 new James Bond actors. He did the Green Lantern movie with Ryan Reynolds, Legends of Zorro, a bunch of great films that this man has done. He's got a new movie out right now called Memory, starring Liam Neeson. You can also check out that film at Marcus Theaters, of course. But we've got that interview with the great Martin Campbell coming up for our 300th episode. And we're going to be doing a big giveaway in conjunction with our 300th episode. So make sure you are following me on Twitter at Geek to Me Radio, Instagram at Geek to Me Radio. Please give the Facebook page a like. We'll have more information about our 300th episode giveaway coming very soon. And we're going to give you some really cool stuff in sponsorship, I should say in partnership with our friends at Kokomo Toys in Kokomo, Indiana. Make sure you check out Kokomo Toys because they've got a lot of really cool things. If you're a toy nerd, you just need to go visit the place. But check out their website and you can get some really great toys. That's going to do it. Thanks as always to Joey V for making the show sound and look as good as it does. Max on Movies is up next if you're hearing us on 550 KTRS, so stick around for that. And until next week, my friends.
You look when you make Game of Thrones references. That's a show. This is Geek to Me Radio. That's a show. This is Geek to Me Radio.
Thank you, St. Louis. Good night.
This is the Big 550 KTRS St. Louis. Eureka. Webster.